Thank you for letting them work with a partner, because they're really learning now and they really like school. When you've got notes from parents that are supporting you. Monsters are scary. What do you want to do about it? And the kids at 4 years old said, sell the house.
Please help me to welcome Dr. Jane Bluestein.
Thanks, Judy.
Each year, thousands of people from San Diego to Slovenia are introduced to the wit and wisdom of Dr. Jane Bluestein. Whether they are educators, healthcare workers, business professionals, or soccer moms, audiences leave her presentations renewed, inspired, and better prepared to handle the complex realities of their lives at home or at work. Dr. Bluestein has authored several books, including the just-released Creating Emotionally Safe Schools. This important new book clearly puts Dr. Bluestein at the forefront of educational reform and establishes her as a leader of educators dedicated to creating caring, safe school environments.
Thank you.
Recently, when CNN needed an expert to comment on the violence that is plaguing our school campuses, they turned to Dr. Bluestein. In addition to CNN, Dr. Bluestein has made guest appearances on several other radio and television programs, including News Talk Television, National Public Radio, and The Oprah Winfrey Show. She is also featured in a new distance learning course that is being distributed to educators worldwide. Here, in an interview from that course, she is asked to comment on the needs that today's students bring to the classroom.
Kids are coming to school with the same needs as they always have, and this is worldwide. The kids in Malaysia are coming with the same needs as the kids in Missouri. I mean, basic things that every human being needs. They need to feel safe. They need to belong. They need a sense of purpose. They need a structure. They need some kind of limits. They need to know where, how far is too far. They need an opportunity to succeed. They want to have fun. I often ask the teachers in the workshop, if you had a choice between going to 2 workshops and getting the same information and the same handouts, basically the same presentation, same overheads, but you heard one was going to be fun and one wasn't, where would you go? This is a no-brainer, but we resent the fact that kids want to have fun and enjoy. Does it mean we have to, dress up in clown suits and, no, of course not. But if we recognize that that's a need that kids have, the degree to which we can accommodate that in the way we teach and in the instruction and the presentation and the materials we have, we're going to increase the amount of involvement and engagement in the kids we're working with, regardless of the age, regardless of the subject area. It just makes it, we all learn better when we're engaged, when we're enjoying it, when we're succeeding, when we feel safe. And all these pieces have always been around. That has not changed. What has changed is the way kids are getting these needs met. And in some cases, the way they get these needs met interferes with the way we want to teach. And it sometimes interferes with kids' learning. So that's really the only thing that's changed. But the basic needs are the same. Additionally, right? How many of you are parents?
A dynamic and entertaining speaker, Dr. Bluestein has worked with thousands of educators, counselors, parents, and other community groups to provide practical, meaningful information about relationship building, effective instruction, conflict resolution, and violence prevention. Her down-to-earth speaking style, practicality, and numerous stories and examples based on her own experiences make her ideas clear and accessible to all her audiences, including this group of teachers and parents concerned about young children's apprehensions and fears.
One parent, my absolute favorite, and I never would have thought of this in a million years. The kid woke the parents up, 3 in the morning, there's a monster in my closet, and the mother said, well, of course, I forgot to give you your monster spray. 3 in the morning, presence of mind to go downstairs, take a, like a household cleaning, like a Windex or some kind of bottle, rinse it out, fill it with water, put a sticker on it that said monster. She wrote monster spray on it and said, the lady at the store said this will send any monster back to his own mommy and daddy. Talk about validation and empowerment. I have seen parents who do things like sweep the monsters into the garage as part of the nighttime ritual. until the kid doesn't need it anymore. And sometimes, you know, the father or the mother will walk into the room and say, okay, monsters, time to go home. You got to go back to your own mommy and daddy. It's time for us to go to bed. And just what you're doing is saying it's okay for you to have your feelings. Because simply...
While she enjoys her talks with parents, community groups, and religious organizations, the majority of Dr. Bluestein's busy speaking schedule is dedicated to meeting the needs of teachers, administrators, counselors, and school board members. Her entertaining and insightful presentations are the perfect way to begin a conference, build instructional skills, or renew teacher confidence and morale. Here, at a statewide teacher fair in Des Moines, Iowa, she uses her personal experiences to illustrate the importance of teaching to the various needs of all learners.
I mentioned the duck and running. I mentioned that because it's a very personal thing for me. I was very good in all of these subjects in school. I was good in math. I was pretty good in languages. I was good in English. You put me in a gym suit. Do we have any coaches in here? Where are our coaches? Do we have any coaches? Oh, you're all chicken, aren't you? No, they won't raise their hand. Every year for about 6 years, from junior high to high school, we had this horrible, horrible period called, well, I just, you know, I have decided that I have to behave myself while I'm alive because when I don't want to go to hell. I really don't. You know why? Because I am positive there is a track there, okay? Again, I told you I didn't come to this planet to run, and I know this. And I learned this back in junior high and high school because for 6 weeks every year we had track. And what that meant was I got to be the duck. I would get out there, and to make matters worse, we didn't just have track, but the first day of track we always started out with something like a 660. Excuse me. We get out there the first day, the coach said, everybody get out and run a 660. He might as well have said, okay, we're going to run to Vermont. Okay? I could no sooner run 660 yards as I could run to another state. Now, the first year I tried. And I went out there, my little duck feet, you know, and I go out and I try to run. And I'm like, you know, the chubby kid in class. I'm slow. And it's like, and everybody's standing there looking at the ceiling. Now, again, talk about the emotional climate in an environment. How do you think that felt? And people were making fun, or they're impatient, or they're whatever. Oh, gee, I can't wait for PE tomorrow. So what do you think I spent all my energy doing every time we had track? Getting out of it, exactly. If I had put as much energy into running as I had put into making up excuses, I probably could have run to Vermont. I told the guy I had malaria one year. I said, we have these, you know, I mean, anything just to not have to run. It was like, save myself the humiliation, flunk me now, save yourself the trouble. I'll see you in 6 weeks when we do something less painful. Now, what would have happened if my coach had said, look, the ultimate goal is to run a 660. If you can't do that, I at least want you to get further than where you're at right now. So maybe we're not going to start with a 660 for everybody. Now, for those of you who can go out and do a 660, go for it. The rest, Jane, you don't have to do a 660. Why don't you just do a 6? That's like from me to you, right? Okay. Guess what? I can do that. I can do it. So wait a minute. You're telling me that all I have to do is run 6 yards, and you love me as much as the kid who can get out and do a mile the first day? And you're going to give me the rest of the 6-week period to just get better and better and better? Who in the world, who in your class is going to try harder than the kid who is allowed and loved even though he's the worst kid in class? You just made it safe for me to be the dumbest kid in this class. You just told me that you value me as much as the kid who already knows this. Maybe even more, because that kid doesn't need you as much. He's already doing what you want him to do. I'm the one who needs help. You're willing to take me from where I'm at right now? Do you know when I got this? Do you know who that teacher was for me? It was when I joined a gym. Anybody have a gym membership here? Do you have a thing here in Iowa? I don't know if they do. In New Mexico, we have this horribly sadistic practice where I live, where they will match you with like the most petite, young, firm person to take you around and show you all the machines, you know? So I joined this gym, and I'm working with this little 17-year-old, just darling girl. And she's taking me around and showing me all the machines. Now, in my gym, there is an indoor track. And the track, 27 laps makes a mile. So they're little, okay? We're talking little laps. Now here's what's going on in my head, okay? I'm looking at these laps and I'm thinking, man, these are little laps. I can do a mile because the laps are little. PhD, okay? This is true though. See, on a track, I'm an at-risk learner. On a track, I'm an at-risk learner. I'm thinking, in my brain, I can run a mile, no problem. I get out there, I run 2 laps, and I think, I am going to die. Now, if she had yelled at me like my old coaches, what would I have done? I would have quit. What she said to me, bless her heart, that's a great start. Why don't you shoot for 3 laps? And that's what I did. I said, okay. I was like, and limped out of there. But here's the weird part. I went back. I went back to the track, and I did 3 laps, and I did 4 laps. And I have to tell you something, all this wonderful stuff about writing the books, don't start, you're going to get me going. You know, and getting the degrees, writing the books, doing all this wonderful stuff, all this stuff about all these achievements, yeah, they're wonderful. But as far as I'm concerned, the one that I was most at risk for, the one that was probably the greatest achievement for me, because it was the one that created, that meant overcoming the most fear, was going back to that track. And I can tell you the date I ran my first mile. It took me 5 months. Now, it shouldn't take any normal human being 5 months to run track. If that's in your mind, you've just left me out of the picture, because that's exactly what it took me. But what if it does take me 5 months to learn how to add? What if it takes me longer than a lot of kids to learn how to do this? What if it takes me a little while to reduce my resistance to knowing that it's okay for me to take a risk and maybe look foolish? Are you willing to give me the space to be the worst kid in your class? That's the challenge.
Whether the subject is school safety and discipline, personal development, motivation, or any topic dealing with improving the human condition, Dr. Bluestein can bring a presentation to your group that will be an entertaining, enlightening, and emotional experience that you and your colleagues will long remember.
We have no idea the power our words can carry. This is why what comes out of our mouth matters. And I want to promise you, if I don't know anything else about you, about this state, about the kids you're working with, I know this one in my heart as I know my name. I guarantee every one of you is going to be that teacher for somebody this year. You may never know which kid you save. You may never know how little it takes to just notice a kid. And so as bad as things get, just trust the difference that you're making and the power that each of us has to touch a life. God bless you for the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for coming here today. Thank you.